Hello everyone! Rock Solid is my favorite spell in the game by far. Although it's not as versatile as Cloud Step, it's far more satisfying to use and has its higher skill ceiling in my opinion. In this video, I will show you all you need to know about Rock Solid, from basic mechanics to lesser known advanced techniques. The first half of the video contains no spoilers. In the advanced tips sections, however, I will show some endgame bosses to demonstrate the playstyle, especially against the toughest bosses in the game. But don't worry, I will give a spoiler warning before that. Let's start with some basic mechanics of Rock Solid. First, if you spam heavy attack right after a successful deflection, you can skip the charging animation of heavy attacks. Here's a comparison between the speed of charged heavies of the three stances. I recommend Thrust Heavy here if you want to use heavy attacks in this way. It's the fastest and the most fluid heavy out of all three, and it does more damage than the Pillar Heavy. Smash Heavy still does the most damage, but it's agonizingly slow and it has a very small reach. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you have 4 focus points. Then it hits very far, go up high in the air so it can avoid most attacks, and most importantly, looks really cool. As for talents, there are 2 talents for mana management. The first one is Sound as a Bell from the Fuming Ear Relic. It gives half of your mana back if you do a successful deflection. The second one is Bold Venture from Rock Solid Talent Tree. That will give you another half if you have it maxed out. Here is my test result of the deflection window reduction from different talents. With all the talents maxed out, you still have a deflection window of half a second. However, if you're struggling with landing deflections, you can also try with only putting 1 point in Bold Venture, which gives you a 20% longer deflection window, but only costs 5 more mana. In my opinion, that's a very good middle ground, and you're not likely to run out of mana from 5 mana per deflection. If you do, it's more because of mistiming your Rock Solids. If you're using Rock Solid with Thrust stance most of the time, which I recommend, you should also spec into the Relentless talent. The instant heavy after a successful deflection will benefit from this talent. The small number here is the bonus damage from Relentless. Unfortunately, there is currently a bug that the Relentless damage will consume the damage bonus from the Iron Tough Gauntlets and some other talents with similar next attack damage bonus. I will talk more about it at the end of the video because it's a bit more technical. But even with this bug, this talent is still beneficial, so you should have it. There are some other benefits of Rock Solid besides deflections. For example, Rock Solid can cleanse poison and burn status. Also, one of the soaks, Slumbering Beetle Husk, is great pairing with Rock Solid. It reduces the cooldown of Rock Solid by 2 seconds per drink. The impaired movement debuff gets removed when you get hit, including Rock Solid deflections. Now I will show some popular builds for Rock Solids. For the weapon, you can just go for the highest damage one, or anything you like. For Spirit, my personal favorite is Non-Able, which I will go into more details later in the video. Iron Tough Gauntlets are a must-have for Rock Solid build, giving more attack damage for your next attack after a deflection. Combining with the instant heavy after a deflection, this gives a very nice damage bonus to our main source of damage. One of the builds that I recommend is Golden Mask, Golden Shirt, Iron Tough Gauntlets, and Iron Tough Greaves. Pairing this build with short cooldown spirits such as Non-Able or Non-Void, you will get massive amounts of focus points from spamming the spirits, because of the unique effect of Golden Mask. You will also be able to get more focus points from deflecting with Rock Solid with the Iron Tough 2-set bonus. The second build that I recommend is Bow King's Mask, Bow King's Armor, Iron Tough Gauntlets, and Iron Tough Greaves. The wording on Bow King's Mask and 2-set bonus is a little bit misleading. You actually don't need to take damage, you just need to get hit. And Rock Solid deflection counts as getting hit. So Bow King's Mask gives you 24% more focus after a successful deflection. At 3 focus points, this bonus is enough to give you the 4th right away with the deflection. On top of that, Bow King 2-set bonus gives you 10% defense after a deflection, so it could be useful if you're struggling with survival, especially in higher game cycles.
Again! I wasn't even trying! Ill-mannered brat! Not not worth my anger.
The third and my favorite build is simply full iron set. I think this is the best way to build Rock Solid. Let me show you some calculations. Everyone who has used Rock Solid before will know this. It feels good. Okay. Full iron set gives you a 35% cooldown reduction after a deflection, so it means you will get more Rock Solid in the fight. Combining the first two equations here shows full iron set equals to more feels good, and that's what matters in a video game. For Curios, Tiger Toddy is S tier if you have a decent uptime on the boss, and you should be able to if you're playing Rock Solid. The rest really depends on your weapon and personal likings. I do a lot of no-hit fights, so Gold Button is very powerful, giving 15 attacks when full health. I also like Cat Eye Beans to compensate for the low crit rate from the Dark Iron Staff. If you're using weapons with a lot of crit already, feel free to swap it with Beast Buddha. This Curious setup is very offensive, and if you want a bit more damage reduction, feel free to go for Defensive Curios. This is the point where I will start talking about playstyles, and there will be spoilers ahead. So, 3, 2, 1, okay, let's go. The way I like to play is that I almost always follow a Rock Solid deflection with an instant thrust heavy. There are 3 reasons for this playstyle. The first and the most important one is, it just feels so goddamn good.
Rock me, baby.
The second benefit is that if you follow the Rock Solid with a thrust heavy with 2 or more focus points, you can interrupt a lot of the combos that don't get interrupted by Rock Solid itself. Here are some examples. The third reason is that this playstyle makes sure that every heavy gets the bonus attack damage from Iron Tough Gauntlets and Relentless Talent. Of course, there are some drawbacks with this playstyle. One of the main problems is that after you use Rock Solid with heavy, you don't have any focus points. So if your playstyle also relies on see-throughs to interrupt the boss combo, you will need to get the focus points by perfect dodging. However, this is where non-able comes in to fill the gap. Non-able, contrary to what his name suggests, is in fact very able. He's an S-tier spirit that has one of the best passive bonus in the game. The mana reduction doesn't matter that much for a Rock Solid build because of the mana reduction talents for Rock Solid. He has 5 different attacks depending on when you use it during your light attack combo. Every attack does a lot of posture damage, meaning that it can interrupt the boss a lot. I am also making a detailed guide for him and it will be linked in the description when it's out. The main benefit of using non-able with Rock Solid is that non-able requires very little chi, which means that you can use him pretty often. Most of the time when your Rock Solid is on cooldown, you can use non-able to interrupt the boss and get time before Rock Solid comes back. Let me show you a few examples. Here I first use Rock Solid, then I use non-able to extend my combo. By the time he started attacking me again, my Rock Solid already comes back. After this Rock Solid, non-able is back again. The next 2 examples have the same idea. Here I will show you another hidden mechanic. Well, honestly, it's more like a bug than a feature. For some attacks, if you spam dodge right after a Rock Solid deflection, you can also trigger a perfect dodge. It doesn't work for all attacks though. From my testing, it worked better against smash attacks or attacks with large hitboxes. With this tag, you can get almost 2 focus points from just 1 deflection. Also, there are 2 different talents that give damage bonus after a perfect dodge. The whistling wind from Filming Ear's relic gives 10% for 5 seconds, and the moon roam from Guangzhi transformation gives 20% for your next attack. Maybe it's more optimal to use this tag before doing the thrust heavy when you have 4 focus points. That in total should give you a 30% damage bonus to the thrust heavy damage, so I went testing. Well, there is a damage increase, but it's lower than what we would expect from these two talents. Remember, it should be around 30% in total. So I also calculated the damage increase for each damage number. Well, there it is. The 20% from the transformation talent only gets applied to the relentless damage. It makes sense that it only gets applied to one of the damage because it's a next attack bonus, but I don't think it's supposed to be on the relentless part. What about the next attack bonus from Iron Tough Gauntlets? To test this, I tested the thrust damage without and with the gauntlets. Well, looking at this data, it is clear that the next attack bonus from the gloves only apply to the relentless damage. It is hard for me to imagine that this is by design, so I think this is just a bug that the developers missed. In any case, Iron Tough Gauntlets is still the best in slot gloves for Rock Solid. Relentless talent is still beneficial to have, and Thrust Heavy still do more damage than Pillar Heavy. So this doesn't change any of the conclusions from the video, although I do hope that they can fix it soon. Well, that is all I've got for the video. Feel free to correct me in the comment section if any of the information in the video is wrong. This video took a long time to make, so if you like it, please leave a like. Please also consider subscribing so I can get to 1,000 subs and get that sweet YouTube money.